Right, we're back in again there. Let me just make sure. Hello, hello, hello. No, can't see nothing. Why can't I see it? Normally it's there. That's strange. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, yeah. With it. All right, guys. So yeah, so now that I've confirmed that, let's begin. So we had 118, so hopefully we can get through this 2018 paper before. Oops, I did not open a solutions paper. Just give me a sec. I will be quick in that endeavor. Right. So so let me copy, change that. 2018. Right. Let's open that. Then we will just select everything and delete. And layout. I would like this to.
How come you didn't open like a new one and like save that?
I did. I just copy and pasted it. I just cleared everything. I just changed the name.
I don't know what to do.
Well, I didn't know until I learned how to do it, so it's quite possible. So, yeah. All right, cool. All right, so where was it? Oh, hold on. I think this one. Yeah, this one I can take off this one because it will confuse me. CSEC Econ. Right, let's go. So 6 questions. So 6 questions, and you have 2 hours. All right, so 2 hours is 120 minutes. 120 divided by 6 is 20. So you have 20 minutes a question. Each question is worth 20 marks. So a minute a mark. So how many of a mark is awarded for the question? Spend that number of minutes on the question. All right.
So 3 marks, 3 minutes?
Yep. Alright, so A, list 3 types of economies. Alright, so I think that one should be fairly simple enough. So 1, 2. Alright. Aha! I'm waiting for the input from you all there.
So 3 types of economies.
Right.
There are mixed economies,
Right.
traditional economies, and free market economies. So that's 3.
Alright, cool. So 3 types. 3 types, yeah. 3 types of the economies. So we have, you said traditional, right?
Traditional.
So traditional, what's another word for traditional? Traditional, subsistence, and barter. Just in the barter economy.
And mixed.
Before mixed was the, right, so you have command, or it says controlled, or centrally, was that? Right, economy. And apart was the opposite of that one.
Free market.
Right, so the free market or the enterprise economy.
That's crazy.
And the last one I said was mixed.
Yeah.
Right, so mixed economy. Alright, so 3 types of, we have that one. Okay. Alright, so that's like day 1 in econ usually, and day 1 in POB too. Usually, well, for me, that was what it was. What do you guys have for day 1?
What is economics?
Oh,
Social
We
science.
did like PPF before we did.
I meant PPF for the first time in Form 6.
And it's all
Yeah.
After that,
Yeah, we didn't learn until Form 6. I don't know why. Wow, that was a trunk. I thought that was breeze, but it has some serious breeze outside. Boy. Yeah. Anyhow, let's carry on from here. We find it till opportunity cost come back, boy, 2 years in a row.
So yeah, so you know what we did? So we just copied and pasted. So
Alright, cool. Alright, so opportunity cost is that, right? Is the cost of a choice. Choice, a Casper, right? Choice or alternative, an alternative in terms of what was given up to get it. Alright, in other words, what's the fancy definition you gave me, Gio? Right, is the next best alternative forward. Alright, so the status of nice and simple here. Alright, 2 marks, right? with the aid of a diagram, explain the difference. This is almost like question one from the previous year. Explain the difference between efficient points and attainable points with respect.
Yeah, no, that's all.
Because I was looking in my book and like
Mhm.
how our teacher explains us, like the one on the actual curve for efficient allocation and then
Attainable is inside.
it's inside.
Yeah.
But she
So
Well, technically speaking, anything on the boundary or within the boundary is attainable. The ones inside are the inefficient points because you're not fully utilizing the resources, but they are attainable. And the ones outside the boundary are unattainable. Yeah. All right, cool. All right, let me see if I could actually do it this time. Yes. Yeah.
wait, so the ones on the line itself is the where they
Those are the efficient ones. Yeah, the most efficient use of the
and the
resources.
ones
Like inside the thing is
Those are attainable but inefficient. That means you're not fully utilizing your given level of resources. All right, so how many marks? That's 6 marks? All right, cool. All right, so let's see if I could do it this time and not have to.
so only one diagram is go really
Well, let's see what it said.
marks I cannot keep putting in also. Like when you have to draw one diagram.
So far it looks like that, but I can't guarantee there's a pattern to hold to. All right. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to increase this to, let's do 120. And let's put on paragraph markers so I could see what I am doing. All right. All right, so this way I don't have to open a second instance of the distribution tree. I honestly I'm not sure what the protocol is, but I think if it sounds like it should do it, you should probably do it. Okay, so the first thing we need is a PPF, right? So we need a y-axis, we need an x-axis. Oops, sorry, my bad. All right, this is whatever the good is, the y good. This is the x good. This is 0, and we'll do a concave one. That's convex, sorry, right? So we'll do a point on here. Let's call that one point A, and we'll do one inside of here, which is one called point B. All right, and we'll just and then you could do a little dotted lines across here.
So what line are you?
Well, you don't have to do everything here, but you have to at least show point A and point B.
you have to draw a line.
No.
ABC on the line and
Yeah.
B inside, right?
Yeah.
Show the
Yeah, that's
efficient
right.
and attainable.
Yeah, you could do that too. I'm just accustomed showing you some extra explanation. So yeah, so the lines inside might not be entirely necessary. I could agree with that. I'll concede to that. Okay, cool. All right, so we should have a label, like a title, right?
I didn't title it, but I labeled which points were which.
Okay, cool. So you're saying that this one is, let me take out this one too. So point A is efficient.
Yeah.
And then B is attainable.
Efficient. This one is attainable, but inefficient. Right. Actually, yeah, let me put I'll put the lines in for this one down here, and I'll show you how I talked it. Once again, I may just be talking slightly too much for an O level, but yeah, I have trouble scaling down to talk to anyhow. Let me stop talking and start typing. Where's my mouse? Right, cool. Okay, so in the diagram, right? Pick up our diagram above. Diagram above shows, right? So the diagram above shows a production.
We must say, ain't that have one off the point itself?
You mean past the curve?
Yeah.
Well, that's unattainable. They didn't ask for that, but you could put it. You could put it if you want. That might be.
Just attainable.
They asked for efficient and attainable.
Sorry.
Right. Shows a production possibility frontier, with 2 points A and B. Right. Point A is on the frontier and shows an efficient point as at this point the resources are being fully utilized to obtain the maximum production level possible. Alright. Let's do that and then do that. The point B is within the frontier and shows, illustrates, or represents an attainable level of production, attainable but inefficient, right? Inefficient level of production. This is considered inefficient because the resources used are not being used to produce the maximum level of production possible, right? It is right. Maybe that's with 3 marks. What y'all think?
Yeah.
All right. I'm trying to have some cool breeze coming, and I feel warm. All right, 25.
So this thing what is calculating.
Alright, hold on, let me just see if I could add anything to that. So we've shown the diagram, and I'll put point C, but I didn't talk about it, right? The point C shows that the same, this part is a little extra, same quantity of good Y can be produced while giving a higher quantity of good X than at point B. Alright. Yeah. If you put something on a diagram, make sure to talk to it. And yeah, you don't want to put anything unnecessary or excess to what you have to put. But yeah, once again, you just want to make sure you answer sufficiently what has been asked. All right. Point D. Sorry, let me just give you guys a minute to just take that on if you copy or anything, and then we'll go from there, right? Does anybody have any questions on the diagram? No? Okay, cool. Right. Let's continue from there. Alright, let's take a look and see what's being shown to us in this next part here. Table 1 represents the production possibility schedules for country A using all resources. Okay, country A, quantity of capital goods in thousands, so that's this side here. And then we have, quantity of consumption goods. So it's always a balance between capital goods and consumption goods. Right? Capital goods are those that are used to create output, whereas consumption goods are goods that are just basically consumed by consumers. And so you always have to strike a balance, because you can't just create machines to create output and create no output. And you can't just create output, especially if you have no machines to create output. So there has to be a balance. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so at zero capital goods, you have 30,000 consumption. So if you devote all of your resources to producing consumer goods, you get 30,000. If you devote, so 1,000 here, 20, 2 to 12, 3 to 6, 4 to 1. Yeah, so maybe 0, 1, and 4, the first two and the last one are kind of low. The optimal one here seems to be somewhere between 2 and 3. 2, 12, and 3, 6. Well, let's see what they're asking. Calculate the opportunity cost.
So this guy
Right, so remember what we said, the opportunity cost was the gradient of the curve, right? And the thing is, the gradient of a curve, you need to use differentiation, which is something an add maths to do that. But I'm assuming here you could simply just find the gradient of a straight line, right? But the thing is that this differs, right? Sorry, 1 second, let me just see something. Somebody messaged me. Oh, Karina. Karina convinced me to do applied maths unit 2 come September. It's tempting because it has mechanics and stuff in it, but I had a prep for that. All right, so from here, 30 to 20 decreased by 10, then a decrease by 8, then a decrease by 6, then a decrease by 5. Here, this is increasing by 1 every time. All right, so I need your help here, because once again, I didn't do this particular part when I was in econ, right? So my guess is that you could show the decreasing opportunity cost, the increasing opportunity cost, or you could take that's the first and the last, which should give you an average, which we know is not necessarily the best representation of opportunity cost. So what you guys, especially for 2 marks, what do you guys feel you should do?
I've never seen that before.
Never seen it before? Right. Well, in the previous paper, right, they asked us to show using a PPF the decreasing opportunity cost. So we did the curve and we saw we took 2 consecutive decreases in Y. Hold on, let me just take off some paragraph now, right? So we decreased Y from here to here first, and then again from here to here. And if you could notice that the spaces, the vertical decreases were about the same. But the horizontal changes, the changes in X, if you notice, the first change when you move from A to B was this much down here, right? But when you move from B to C, that's the blue area, and the blue little shade area is much less than this black area here. So that's what you call increasing opportunity cost, because you sacrifice the same amount of good Y to get less of good X.
So what if we plot it all into our graphs?
Right, if we plot all into a graph, you would get a curve.
Right.
And then when you get a curve, like I said, to find the gradient of a curve, you have to either use calculus or you have to find the gradient of multiple points. Because unlike a straight line where you have a constant gradient throughout, the gradient of a curve is different at every point, right? Which means the opportunity cost is different at every point. All right, so here, this is a good example of what to do in an exam if we never met before. So one option, which is not the preferred option, is skip it. Because it's just 2 marks, you can say, okay, I can make that back up somewhere. But that's still 2 marks gone. But you have to weigh that against your opportunity cost of your mental resources. If you sort of confuse yourself, you use up your resources, which could be used for further questions. Right? Now, what do we know about opportunity cost? It is you all have a nice fancy term, the next best alternative for one. What does that mean in plain terms?
If you go to the after and algebra, your number, if you choose to go to your number, your opportunity cost.
Right. The opportunity cost, focus on the second word, cost. When we go to buy something, we have 2 costs. Monetary cost. Correct. It's the monetary cost plus the opportunity cost. So to choose an alternative and go with it, you have to sacrifice 2 things. You have to sacrifice the money and the other opportunity. So the opportunity cost is literally the cost of an alternative, but in terms, not in terms of money, but in what was given up or sacrificed, right? So here, to go from 0 to 1 in terms of capital goods, what do we have to give up? We have to give up 10,000 consumer goods. To go from 1 to 2, we have to give up 8. To go from 2 to 3, we have to give up 6. And to go from 3 to 4, we have to give up 5.
So you add all that.
No, you can't add. This is different at every point, right? But the good part is you're only changing one here every time, which makes the division easier. Because remember, what is gradient? You're changing y over the change in x. So if x is just changing by 1 every time, your cost will just change from 10 to 8 to, now you can find the average of all those, or like I said, you can just do the first point and the last point, or the one in the middle, from here to here. From 20 to 6 is how much? That's 14, and from 1 to 3 is 2.
It makes sense if like those are all different and they ask you like what is the optimal cost between this year and that year.
Yeah. Alright, okay. Alright, so here what we're gonna do. Right, so calculation of opportunity cost, right, which is the gradient of the PPF. Right, so where am I? Hold on. Right, cool. So what we'll do is we'll take 30 minus 20 over 1 minus 0. That'll give us 10 over 1. That'll give us a 10 over 1. It's 10. Hold on. Let me just Google this real quick because I don't wanna like leave this unanswered, right? How to calculate opportunity cost PPF. Alright. Oh, we have a bunch of videos, boy. What did they say? Economics online. That looks like a good a good place to go. I agree. Alright.
They have a kind of diagram just like
Right. Boom. So they have a diagram here, right?
yeah.
These comment interpreting, okay. The difference, hold on, right? We can describe the opportunity cost, of producing a given output of computers or textbooks. For example, if they produce 3 million, the opportunity cost is 5 textbooks, right? This is the difference between the maximum output of textbooks if no computers are produced and the number of textbooks that can be produced if 3 million are produced. Okay, so they say here you could take it like from a specific point. Right, or you could illustrate the opportunity cost of a change in the quantity produced of one good. Alright, suppose Mythica currently produces that and that, we can calculate opportunity cost, okay, pointed to point B. A loss of 26 million textbooks, right? It is the same as comparing the static opportunity cost of producing 3 million. Okay. Increasing opportunity costs, we talked about that earlier. Marginal analysis. Alright, cool. Well, that didn't really help. This one was constant, so that'll help either. Alright, so here we're going to do. So like I was saying, we have a couple of choices. One is you could take it from the beginning to the end. So like here, to go from 0 to 4, you had to sacrifice 29,000. So that's the opportunity cost. And 39 divided by 4 will give us about 7 3/4. So that's one way to do, or just take it from one point to the next. Right? But since I don't want to, what's that? Hey Stefan, what's going on there?
So,
Yeah.
what if we find the solutions to this paper somewhere on the internet?
Be my guest.
That makes sense. So that's the solution, possible.
I just put up solutions on my Facebook page for AdMats accounts and. Nope.
For this one?
For any.
For economies?
You're hard pressed. I never look for them to be honest, but they're hard pressed. Most people won't put them up free because they can make money from selling them. That's why if you go in bookstores, you'll have textbooks or books of solutions.
Yeah, how to leak CSEC paper.
Yeah, let's not look at that. Right? Okay, let's move on. Analyze the shape of the production possibility curve for country A. All right, so I wonder if we were supposed to draw a diagram, boy.
I think so, because yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah, but even if it draw a diagram, it still wouldn't be a straight line. It would be a curve like what we did in
Yeah.
well, yeah, like down here. It would be a curve. And like I said, to calculate gradient of a curve, you have to use differentiation. Or you have to pick just between two spots. Pick one spot on the curve. Alright? So, yeah. Analyze the shape of the PPC for country A. Alright, cool. So I need to draw a next diagram. So let's do that one time. So E. So let's move this back a little bit. And what we'll do is we'll do that. We'll go down. And then for this piece here, let's give myself some space. Alright, cool. What happened? Hello? What's your story? Oh, I know exactly what happened. 1 second. Yep, that's what happened. Alright, cool. So now I have some space. Yes, Stefan, thanks. Yeah, it was getting too long, boy. I had to take a little fresh. Yeah, and the shave too. I couldn't go on looking overly bushy. Thanks for noticing. I appreciate it. Alright, cool. So guys, let's take a look at this thing, right? So we have a PPC. Oh, I need to do paragraph markers. Just so I know how much room I have. Alright.
So this is for D, this is the same question.
This is for D, yeah. I know it says E, but it's actually D part 2, so I have to change that numbering. I'll go back and do it after. Alright. Stephanie, let's do econ, boy. We have a question in this paper. It says to calculate opportunity cost, right? But what happens is, you see, we're trying to calculate for these situations with this table here, but it's different for each level. So I'm trying to decide to show the opportunity cost for each level, or if to find an average of it, right? That piece, I'm a little rusty on that piece. So if you have any insight, you could type it in the chat here. All right, and we go from there. All right, so okay. So what we were saying is we have this table, right? So we have on the x-axis 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so this is x-axis. This is the y-axis. I'm putting the consumer goods on the y-axis. So that was up to 30. All right, so that's 30 there, which means there's about 20 here. There's about 10 here. And this is 0 to 4, so let's do 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so 0 to 30 means you're going to start off there. 1 to 20 means you're going to go there. 2 to 12 means you're going to go around there. 3 to 6 means you're going to go around there. 4 to 1 means you're around there. So this shape, this is a rectangular hyperbola. Alright, so analyze the shape of this curve. So what they mean by that, into the analyze the shape, is analyze the opportunity cost. Is it increasing opportunity costs, decreasing opportunity costs, or constant opportunity costs?
Decreasing.
Decreasing. How you get that?
Because it's spread like that.
But remember, in our previous diagram from 2017, right? We said that this shape of the curve gave us increasing. So therefore this one would be
So is that called
decreasing. What's that?
That's called
This is a convex curve, and this is concave. It's well actually this is convex to the axis. Is it? Concave means you get like a cave, and convex means you kinda one is convex, one is concave. But it's always relative to something. So if it's bending away from the axis, I think it's concave to the axis. If it's bending towards the axis, it's convex to the axis. Yes? Alright, cool. If I'm wrong, you could let me know. Alright, like I said, I'm a little rusty on some of the things here, but I don't mind. Okay, cool. Alright, so analyze the shape. So the shape of this curve indicates that it is a what? that this country has decreasing opportunity costs, right? This is because as we go down the curve from left to right, the amount of consumer goods that have to be sacrificed or given up, right, or given up to get 1,000 units of capital goods decreases in each successive movement down the curve. Alright, so label this was point A, this is point B, point C, and point D. And okay, let's do point E as well. Right, so at first you sacrifice 10 units, right? 10 units here to get 1 unit here. Right, then we went from 20 to 12, right, which gave us a sacrifice of 8 to get 1. So it means that we gave up less. Well, remember this is the point here. Right, it's not on 10. And then it went from 12 to 8. No, that was 6, sorry.
6 to 3.
6, right? And then this one down here was 1, right?
Yeah.
1. Right, so the movements, the downward movements kept getting smaller and smaller, but the horizontal movements stayed the same. So it means you were giving up less and less to get the same amount. So you had decreasing opportunity costs. You could think of it from the next perspective too. If we were going backwards along the curve that way, right, up that way, every movement from going to the left gave up 1,000 units of consumer goods. In the first instance, you would have gotten 5,000, then we would have gotten 6,000, then we would have gotten 8,000, and then 10,000, right? So if you pay $1 every time, you keep getting more and more for that same dollar, you have a decreasing opportunity cost, right? You're sacrificing the same amount to get more and more, so your opportunity cost is decreasing. I'm okay with that. All right, shall we? Let's turn the page and let's see what else there is to do. Okay. Most Caribbean territories have a water company which is a monopoly, responsible for the distribution of water to various households. The distribution of water is done through a network of pipes and mains that runs schematically to the various districts and parishes. Alright, cool. There's 3 characteristics of a monopoly market structure.
One seller, many buyers.
Correct. There's one seller and many buyers. Sorry, say again? So it's a unique or standardized product.
There is imperfect knowledge.
There is imperfect knowledge, I could agree with that. What about barriers to entry? High barriers to entry. Right. So 3 characteristics of a monopoly market structure are one seller and many buyers. Do you guys happen to know what they call the reverse situation where you have one buyer but many sellers?
Oligopoly.
No, oligopoly is where you have a few players in the market.
Competition.
No, the reverse is actually called a monopsony. Where you have monopsony, yeah.
What is it?
I have no idea right now.
And last week, no.
Alright. So one buyer. One buyer. So there's only one person or one company that buys that particular type of product. Yeah, I don't know. Right, so one seller and many buyers. What's the other one? A unique or standardized product, right? A unique or standardized product. High barriers to entry into the market. And then perfect knowledge.
Is it entry or is it just entry?
I wonder, boy. That's a good question.
I think it's
I like that one. Emir, what's going on? Good to see you. I like your Instagram story with the filter with the kind of chubby cheeks. That was funny. All right. Okay, we okay there? Moving on. 3 characteristics of a monopoly market structure. State the factor of production under which each of the following is classified. What would water be classified under? What are your 4 factors of production? Land, labor, capital, and price. Land is natural resources. Labor is human. Capital is manufactured resources or financial resources, and enterprise is the organizational resources. So water is land. I agree with that. All right. So let's go. So B part 1. All right. Sorry, my bad.
Electrical pipes.
All right.
Capital.
Water would be land. And yeah, network of pipe. Network of pipes. Capital.
Yeah.
I can agree with that. Next, what do they have here? The next 6-mark question, boy.
Paper stick.
Describe 2 ways in which a monopoly market structure differs from a monopolistically competitive market structure. I knew this was coming. I was like, don't forget monopoly is not monopolistic. Monopolistic means like a monopoly. So in a how does a monopolistic, actually that's the question. How does a monopoly market structure differ from a monopolistic one?
Monopolistic competitions are like restaurants. Many buyers and many sellers, and they sell differentiated products or
By branding and things.
Okay. Right. So monopolistic means it's like a monopoly. So therefore, you can't have many buyers, many sellers. But what you become a monopoly on, like how Gio was saying, was this monopolistic. So you differentiate your product to such an extent, it almost seems like nobody else supplies what you are supplying. Right? So, the basic difference there is that with a monopoly, you have one seller, many buyers. With monopolistic, you have many buyers and many sellers. Right? And maybe we could give an example just to kind of solidify our marks.
With monopolistic competition, if there's not that many barriers entering,
Monopolistic, so you say monopolistic doesn't have as many barriers to entry. Okay.
so like anyone can do it because it's many buyers.
All right.
Just one buyer, not just one seller.
Yeah, because if there were barriers to entry, there would not be that many sellers. Water is land. Correct, Kyle. Very good. All right. So with a monopoly, why do I have a tab there? All right. All right. So with a monopoly,
Could you draw like a table?
yeah, we could do a table. I like that idea.
No, I'm not asking you, so I'm asking like if we can.
Oh, I don't see why not. Yeah. Okay, so do a table, do the table.
Yeah.
Table. Like this weekend, I remember my girlfriend's son somehow end up something with the table. This one split in the middle, right? And I like, climb for the table. I like, what's that word? I'm like, what table? He like, when they said table. So both the neighbor around saying table. My girlfriend like, what are you doing to my son? I'm like, I don't know. He just did it on his own. Lies. Yeah. The table. All right. So let's. Stop it. All right. Yeah, Amir. All right. Cool. So monopoly. I met somebody once who said monopoly. I'm like, no, that's not how you pronounce it. I'm like, whatever. Monopolistic. Tibble. Was that the game Monopoly? Yeah. Mono means one and poly. Well, poly and maths means many, but apparently poly means power as well. So one power, basically. All right. So we were saying so monopoly has one seller and many buyers. Monopolistic. Yeah, they did, and it's 6 marks.
So,
Well, let's just for the sake of practice, let's just list some of the stuff in this table, and then after we'll do a couple of sentences for one or two of them, right? So this one is many buyers and many sellers.
these are unique products.
Correct.
Monopolistic is differentiated.
Unique products. Differentiated products. Can be similar in form and function. All right, what we have next after? We had high barriers to entry. We had low or lower barriers to entry. There was one more. Imperfect. Yeah. Well, I think that might be the situation in both of them. I don't think monopolistic would have perfect knowledge. But you have I guess you could say closer to perfect knowledge than a monopoly. If you're just trying to create stuff that sounds plausible.
No, they have imperfect knowledge.
They have imperfect knowledge too? Alright, so don't know. Take it out. So the similarity. Alright, any other differences?
Not really.
Alright, alright, cool. So we'll leave it at that.
Because they're both price setters.
Price setters, okay.
They both are, so it's not.
Yeah, alright. Okay, so it said to describe two ways in which a monopoly market structure differs from a monopolistically competitive market structure. So a A monopoly market structure is one in which there is a single seller or supplier of a product to the entire market. A monopolistic. Yeah, that combination is real hard to type with. It's real little finger and ring finger. A monopolistic market structure is one where there are many suppliers to the market, but there is a high level of product differentiation or branding that essentially makes each supplier the sole supplier of their specific product. Right, so it's almost like you've created a monopoly by saying, hey, my product is the best one, so I'm the only supplier of this particular item. Despite you could go on in the next store and get the same thing from a different person, long story short. Alright, so that's monopolistic. So I think basically it's just writing it out. Right? If you want to try and nail on your marks, an example could always help, right? So one example of a monopoly, all right. In Trinidad is the WASA, all right, is the Water and Sewerage. I wonder if it's the old spelling. Yeah, Authority. That's the old spelling. That's the English spelling. The US spelling would just have SEWAGE. Right, the Water and Sewage Authority. I wonder if they modify the spelling to reflect that. This one, boy, Water and Sewage Authority. All right. Right. It is the only supplier of water to the population. A monopolist, an example of monopolistic monopolistic competition would be the bottled water market. Good. Which has many competitors, many suppliers, such as Blue Waters, Dasani, Crystal Waters. What's some other ones, boy? Water One.
Oh, see, I tried what the one there. That's our brand from away, eh?
I don't even know. I really can't tell you.
Is it kind of rectangular?
Yeah, that real plenty. And many other. Yeah. Evian. What are you talking about? Sparkling? No, that's still water.
It's the old one.
Yeah, that's true, right? This is what, and many, many more. Blue Mountain, yeah.
There's one, a Z.
That's Z.
Zephyr.
Zephyr Hills.
No.
No?
So they're gonna Z, I can't remember the name.
No, Zephyr Hills.
I don't know, like Zephyr or something.
Zephyr Hills, yeah. Yeah, and many more. Mountain. Oh, I know you put Blue Mountain. They all essentially sell the same product, which is water, but differentiate their particular offering. Alright, this is, by the way, way too much writing for you all to do in terms of in the actual exam. Yeah, I'm just trying to spitball here to get the brains going, right? Yeah. Okay, so we've described one thing, but let's move on, because I think we understand. Actually, no. I kind of tied in the second item here, like unique product. So Wasa is the only person selling water, right? And water is a very specific item. But of course, other people sell bottled water, which is also specific, but specifically unique, or uniquely different. I don't know. All right, sorry. Let's go again. Part D to the question. When you're ready. Are you ready? Oh, it's still taking out of it. Take it out, no rush. Alright. Those on the live, good to see you. Thanks for joining in. Although it says, hold on. No, live. Alright. But it still says 0. Oh, yes, I. Alright, cool. Let's take a look at part D, shall we? Explain how the existence of the water company as a monopoly. So what passes you got? I have English A, English B, French. All ones. Econ accounts POB. I got a B in econ. When I did it was GCE. I have ones in POB. I have a 2 in physics, a A in art maths. Combination. There were 6 ones, at A, a 2 and a B. And at A levels I have 3 A's, accounts, MOB, maths. I have a C in econ and a C in GP. So that's my qualifications at that level. Alright, explain how the existence of the water company as a monopoly for the distribution of water can cause market failure. Okay, so first of all, what is market failure? That's where demand and supply are not equal. They're different levels. Demand is more than supply, or supply is more than demand, right? So there's a difference between the level of demand and level of supply in the market. Explain how the existence of a water company as a monopoly for distribution can cause a water market failure. Okay, so you can take it from either side. So you can either say that demand is greater than supply, or supply is greater than demand. Alright, 4 marks. So which side do you guys want to take?
Demand.
Correct. If it fails, the market isn't able to get its needs fulfilled. That's correct, right? So demand is unequal to supply. Okay, so let's take it from right now. We have a current water shortage, not so?
Yeah.
So, explain how the existence of the water company as a monopoly for the distribution of water can cause market failure. Okay, cool. So, if there is one water company that is the sole supplier, it may not be able to, keep up with, to satisfy the demand of the entire population of the country. in this case, Kyle, when water stops supplying water, we go there with no water. Well, we might resort to other means, Kyle? To have some rainfall, but I don't know how many drops to fill a bucket. Alright? Right, so in this case, if there's one water company that is the sole supplier, it may not be able to satisfy demand in terms. Yeah, no problem. You alright?
Yeah, well.
You're just tired? Or you're lightheaded, or what's the story?
Yeah, something so.
You had lunch? You had breakfast?
Yeah.
Alright. Okay, if you need to rest, it's no problem.
That sounds.
Alright, no problem. Right, so sorry, I lost my train. Sorry, right. Right.
In this case.
It may not satisfy the demand, right? So 9,082 drops. I know the number from somewhere. Nicholas saying 224, yes, boy. Right? So satisfy the demand. Right. Alright, so in such a situation, or in this case, right, this means that demand would exceed supply. Not so? Right? And there would be a shortage of water. So if there's a shortage, it means that demand is more than supply. Supply is less than demand. You don't have enough of the product on the market. So when that happens, it means that your equilibrium price would be what? Too high or too low? The equilibrium price would actually be too low.
Low.
Alright? So if your price is too low, yeah, people are going to demand too much, so you're going to end up with not enough on the market. So what happens? They put, hold on, sorry, no, I confused my diagram in my head. Let me just do a little sketch. Demand, supply. Demand, supply. This is equilibrium price here. If you are above the equilibrium price, you are charging too much. So demand will less. If you are below the equilibrium price, you aren't charging enough. Right. So because there's a shortage, what's going to happen is price is going to be considered to be too low. No, that's wrong. At this price is too high. Supply is more. No, this is shortage down here. Supply is less than demand. So supply is less than demand. That puts upward pressure on price. Upward pressure on price would drive it towards the equilibrium. All right. But before we talk about that, right? In such a case, right?
This is not an identity factor. If the water is coming from one place, that means that they can charge any amount they want.
Well, if it's a government institution, they probably can't, because remember, government institutions are there for the benefit of the people.
Oh,
if it was
a private institution.
If it was a private institution, yeah, they would probably charge a price that would suit the market, right? In such case, there would be an upward, right? Yeah, they can't. The upward pressure, well, not that they can't, it would not be in the public interest for them to do so, right? Upward pressure on the price. However, as water companies, okay, I feel like that's a little too much off, right? Right. The other thing I wanted to mention was that if this public company cannot meet the demand, what might happen? Now we said a monopoly is where you have one supplier, but is it impossible for other people to supply water? No, right? Some people may have access to rivers or whatever the case is, or maybe even water facilities and may steal water, right? This may give rise to a black market, right? In which other entities might supply water for a higher price. Private companies will move in and sell. I agree, that's a possibility as well. Right? Let's make it rise to a black market in which other might. Yeah, unless they have barriers to entry that make it impossible for other companies to be formed. Which is not overly likely, but I mean in the case of water, I don't know about any private water entities to be honest, but that's a good point, Emir. Right? Okay. Alright, let's not stick too long on any particular one. So that was that item. So we'll do it again. Sorry, I'll scroll back up if you need me to.
You scroll back up like themes.
Yeah.
This being lack of water.
Yeah. So look at that. 3A part 1.
Okay.
Yeah. How many days will CXC done? CXC next week Thursday?
Friday.
Next week Friday. So all the way down. Wow.
And it finishes the weekend, the 7th.
The 7th? Yeah, that's Friday. Okay.
Kevin's on the 7th, so yeah.
So after today, you have 3 more days in this week and then 5, so that's 8 more days. Yeah? So as fast as it starts, finish in one time. Alright, 3, part A. Define each of the following terms. Factors of production. The long run, identify one type of business organization. Alright, cool. So let's go. So factors of production. Let me hear you. Are the inputs to the production process. Yeah. Land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. I think there's like an overall mark for like presentation and spelling and stuff. So it's not like each incidence will have a certain amount of marks for it. It's the overall presentation. I think. I'm not 100% sure.
Wait, so when you're doing the definition for the factors of production, you have to put land, you have to like name them too.
Yeah, I mean, they did just say define, but I think for 2 marks, I would list them out just to be safe. All right, so what's the long run? So earlier today, we talked about long run and short run when we were talking about diminishing returns and economies of scale. So we said economies of scale was a long run phenomenon and diminishing returns was a short run phenomenon. Diminishing returns is when in the short run, you had a fixed factor and you kept adding more and more variable factors to the unit of the fixed factor. And we said a fixed factor is a factor that cannot be changed in the short run. So the long run, therefore, is that period of time during which all factors are considered to be what? Sorry? Variable, right? Long run is the period of time in which all factors of production are considered to be variable. In other words, they can be changed. All right. Part B. Identify one type of business organization. So they're giving us some free marks here, boy.
Private.
Right, so what about the first one we suppose on?
Sole trading.
Right, let's start from the beginning. Let me just shift around some stuff here real briefly. Give me 1 second, guys. Let's shift this back a little bit. Right, so we have sole trader. Oh, sorry, you have paragraph marks. Sole trader, partnership, limited liability companies. Right, private and public. And non-governmental organizations. You can also have statutory corporations, but business organizations are usually profit-oriented in nature, at least in economics. Right, so I wouldn't include non-profits here. So NGOs probably shouldn't be, but an NGO is still some sort of entity. All right, when in doubt, go where you know. Go with the simple stuff. Corey. Explain two internal benefits that a firm receives from expanding production in the long run. Okay, so we talked about this in the previous paper. What do we call the benefits a firm gets when it expands production in the long run? Economies of scale. So they said explain two internal economies, because you have internal economies and external economies. All right, so
This
that's,
is basically benefits of economies of scale.
yeah, two internal economies. So two internal economies of scale are, so right, so I know there was managerial, financial, technical, marketing, and there was the next one, unless you guys know them by different names. All right, okay, so hold on. Internal economies of scale include managerial, technical, financial, marketing, and production economies. Alright, so now what we want to do is explain any two of them. Which one you guys want to explain, or which ones?
Managerial, technical, some.
Alright, so technical. Alright, so what are technical economies of scale?
When your business grows larger, you get greater access to more technology.
Alright, so technical economies of scale talk about the employment of, well, basically capitalization, going more capital intensive, and a business can afford to do that when it grows in scale because it usually has access to more capital. Alright? Oh, I forgot one, borrowing economies.
What?
Well, actually that can come under financial. Sorry, my bad. Production. Risk-bearing economies. Remember what I want again?
Diversification, instead of selling just one product, large firms we can several products.
Yes, it's kind
Therefore,
of
they make a loss on one product, the profits on the other ones are eventually side.
interesting. Alright, so technical economies of scale accrue, alright, to a firm as it grows in size when it is better able to afford a more capital intensive production process, production system. Right, this is likely to increase overall output and decrease inefficiency, which can lead to improved profitability. So you get technical economies when you employ technology and reap benefits from that. Alright, what was the next one you guys wanted to talk about? Well, financial economies is where the company, because it is large and has more assets, it's able to access larger loans at better rates because they have collateral. So that's what that.
So what's collateral, right?
Collateral is like an asset you pledge as what you call security for a loan. So in the event you can't pay back, the bank will take ownership of that asset and sell it off to recoup the loan, right? So financial economies are where companies, right? Yeah, you have external too. Yeah. our companies can access larger loans at better interest rates because they usually have high value assets to pledge as collateral for the loan. No, the timing for me. Oh, Christoph, what is talking to me? That's the real thing. Okay, cool. Production. Alright, cool. Financial economies. Alright, back. Right, so let's do that. Let's do this. So we have technical, financial. Let's talk about one more. So I know Laurie told a lot of the stuff for the risk bearing one. Which one? So you're going to do marketing, managerial, or production? Or is that inside joke? Okay, alright, cool. Marketing, alright. So what are marketing economies? The only one I can think of right now is bulk buying, or maybe advertising on more different types of media because you could afford it, right? Marketing economies include advantages such as better prices on supplies due to bulk purchasing, or and being able to advertise on multiple media because of television, radio, newspaper, internet / social media.
So for the bulk purchasing thing, that means that we buy in bulk to
Yeah,
sell?
we buy in bulk
Or
to sell.
we sell to people in bulk?
Now we buy in bulk.
Well, I have it, I mean, like.
We can sell in bulk too?
Introduces administration or transport costs.
So it can work both ways. Alright, okay, I'm okay with that. Alright, so selling in bulk, which reduces administrative costs.
Or transport costs, yeah.
Transport costs. The PlayStation lock up in the closet. Mine upstairs, but I barely use it. Alright. Okay, so we got question 3 and we have half an hour again. Alright, so we could try to maybe I could try to do less typing and maybe more note bullet point things going forward. Explain how division of labor can be applied to a large bakery. Let me hear you.
I don't know.
You don't have what? A large bakery?
No, I don't have.
You could divide the specific tasks
Right.
into, like,
Give me a specific task. What does a bakery make?
so you
Bread.
like,
They make bread.
bread,
They make
cakes. You can have a cake department,
Alright.
pastry department.
So you could actually separate the different offerings into different departments.
Yeah.
So you could have one person working on bread, one person working on cakes, and one person working on pies or something. And then within that, you may also have, let's say it was 3 or 4 people per department. You could have one person in charge of mixing, one in charge of baking, one in charge of cutting up stuff or whatever, like in actual like kitchens with chefs on them. All right. So in a bakery, they may decide to specialize by product, right? Bread versus cakes versus pies, all right? Or by process, all right? So for example, cutting, kneading, baking, decorating, right? And this could have the benefit of increasing efficiency right? And raising the level of output. Alright, so that's question 3. I won't write much more than that because, yeah, I've been writing too much and trying to rack my brain when I think I realize by now we don't have to write as much as I think you all should write. I think, yeah.
That's about 4 marks.
Yeah. Could be. Sorry. 4 part A. Let's take a look. Are you ready?
Okay.
Alright, we did that. Fiscal policy. Hey, look, unemployment come back, boy. So define the term fiscal policy, and there's 3 types of unemployment. So let's go. So 4 part A. So fiscal policy is the use of what? The use of, there are 2 things involved in fiscal policy.
Interest rates.
As monetary policy.
So fiscal policy is
Government spending and
to control aggregate demand, we use government spending and taxes. To control.
Taxes, right. So fiscal policy is the use of taxation and government expenditure, right? Expenditure to achieve overall,
right?
yeah, achieve overall economic policy. Right, so you can say to control the level of aggregate demand in the economy, etc., etc. But that is all towards achieving overall economic policy. Alright, so clearly there's the macro section of the paper here. Right, list 3 types of unemployment. So we said we had structural unemployment, we had frictional, we had seasonal, we had real wage. What? With real wage unemployment, real wage, structural, frictional, cyclical, and why I see an IT and this is econ. Shemai, what IT? I type in a word as well. What are you doing, Shemai? You good?
There's one more.
Yeah, there's one more.
Technological.
Technological.
Oh, you put seasonal.
Technological. What IT? This girl says she's in IT. Pressure. That's alright. Yeah, trust me. The title, sir, for 2019 05 28 econ. That's just how I was leaving my files so I could find them by date, usually. Yeah. I want to see IT, I should show you some VBA. Or some Excel macros and things. Alright, cool, there we go again. Explain 2 types of inflation. Alright, so we have 2 types. I know demand pull and cost push inflation. You all know about those types?
Yes.
So first of all, what is inflation? Or the YouTube? Okay.
Constant rise in prices.
Right,
over
so
a period of time.
the constant or the persistent and sustained rise in the average price level of the retail price index over time. Not so?
Yes.
Alright, title of the video. Oh. I know, sorry about that. Okay. Oh, it's still saying IT. I thought I changed it to econ. No, you know where I didn't change it? I know what I didn't do. Hold on, 1 second. I know what I didn't do. Not that I have to do it now, because we're kind of in the middle of something, but just so people are not confused. Let's say IT. It says, yeah, it says IT. Channel data. There. Oh, I thought I clicked it. Yeah. Live stream. I changed it in the streaming software, but I didn't change it in this one. Alright, sorry about that, guys. I hope it didn't cause any confusion. So maybe that's what people weren't tuning in. IT was good, by the way, just alright, lovely. Glad to hear IT was good. Okay, cool. So shall we go back? All right, where were we? Actually, take off this. Take off this. Right, my bad. Two types of inflation. So let's talk about, all right, so cost push inflation. So that implies what? What is driving the rise in price? The cost of something. The cost of what? The inputs, right? The inputs to the production process. The cost of raw materials, factors of production, land, labor, capital, enterprise, right? Cost push inflation is caused by rising prices for the factors of production. Right? So for example, if and demand for good, yes Shemai, we'll talk about that one right after this, alright? For example, if the cost of raw materials rises, then the supplier might increase the selling price of the final good, to maintain profit margins. All right. Import inflation. Yes, you could import inflation. That is correct. I forgot about that one for a second. So demand pull inflation. So cost push, demand pull. All right, just give them a second to catch up and they're just jotting it down. Right, so demand pull inflation is where the level of demand in the economy is rising faster than the level. Have a next one? Alright, check it out. No. I'll just jot it down here when you find the next one. Cost plus demand pull, right? The level of output, and as a result, shortages occur, which drives up prices. All right. For example, I know we had a very common here. No, this lady in UV tell us some stupidness. Kind of behind here, boy. Alright, cool. Let's scroll up there. Just give me a second, we'll just stretch. Alright, so was an example of demand pull inflation. For example, right, so this example where if water was in high demand due to an impending hurricane, then prices might go up in order to ration off the limited supply. So for the first live IT, so increase in money supply. The increase in money supply could overheat the economy because you just have too many expenditure cycles. You put IT. Oh, the first live today wasn't IT as accurate. The first live today was actually econ. But what happened is I forgot to come into my YouTube and change those change the heading. I thought by changing it in the OBS software it would have changed it here. So yeah, I had to go and rename it. Thanks for that, guys. I'm really sorry about that. Thanks for letting me know. Supply. Alright. Alright, we also have imported inflation. which is where imported goods, where the price of imported goods, prices of imported goods increase due to inflation in their country of origin, right? Okay, so in that particular case, right, so it's not that any factor in our country such as demand pull or cost push is causing the inflation, is that we're buying goods that have rising prices because of one of those factors in the other country. All right, so let's take a look at the other question. Move on from there. Sorry. Right. D. Determine the component of GDP that is affected by each of the following activities. So when they say the component of GDP, we're talking about like what? Like expenditure, consumer expenditure, investment, government, and then X minus M. That sound familiar?
Yeah.
Yeah, C plus I plus G plus X minus M.
Yeah.
Alright, so what are some other components of GDP? Yeah, the output method, expenditure. So output, you have your sectors, your primary sector, secondary, tertiary.
OER.
Right. OER method. The E method is expenditure. Yeah. And you have four sets of expenditure. Right? Consumers, businesses, government, and the foreign sector, the international trade sector. Right? So consumer expenditure is noted as C. Business expenditure is called investment, that's I. Government expenditure is G. And then the international trade sector, that's X minus M. Exports minus imports. Alright? So if your aunt buys a house, what component of GDP is affected? Is that a consumer expenditure?
Yeah.
Same thing for family. Or what farmer Joe grows tomatoes for his family? Domestically made sugar is sold to a baker in a foreign country. That's exports.
Part 4.
That's part 4, yeah.
So that's part 3.
Part 3, farmer Joe boy. Well, none of these seem to be government. But if it's for his family, does that form part of the output? It's not offered for sale. Anybody have any input on this, boy? I'm a little confused, to be honest. Unless I'm not considering part.
I feel like that's a trick question.
The component of gross domestic product that is affected by each of the following activities. So GDP, what is GDP? Gross domestic product. So that first of all, you have GDP. They could go to GNP and NNP, so let's go back. So it's the total value of all expenditure in the country's land and maritime boundaries. Okay, cool. So we have the same components of expenditure. Aunt buys a house. Is that consumer? Yeah? Alright, so here, let's just go from there. Alright, yeah, let's... Go to question 5, shall we?
So it's part 3.
So consumer, hold on, wait, for part D?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, your aunt buys a house, to me that's consumer expenditure. Family buys a new car is also consumer. Farmer Joe grows tomatoes with family. That's not government, that's not export or import. Part 4, domestically made sugar sold to a bakery firm. That's net exports. Nothing here was a business, so it's not investment. But like I said, I find it kind of hard to believe it's just 3 of them are consumer expenditure items and 1 is just export minus import. Anyhow, that's what it is. Alright. We had 2:42 there, so we have about 15-20 minutes again. So let's see what we could do. Alright, 5A. State the meaning of each of the following abbreviations. CET, that's Common External Tariff. And WTO is?
I was paying attention. Farmer Joe.
Yeah, I think it's consumer because I'm really not sure. I mean, unless it can't be, is it investment? He feeds his family. I don't think that's business expenditure.
And part 4 will be...
That's the export, the international trade sector. Exports minus import, net exports.
Okay.
CET.
Yeah, CET is common external tariff. Let's put that down. So as A, let's pull that back here. And then as I. So CET is the common external tariff, and WTO is the
World Trade Organization.
World Trade Order.
okay, World
Trade Order.
Trade Organization.
Oh.
World Trade Order. I know about that one.
One non-tariff.
Yeah, identify one non-tariff trade barrier. Where is it? Identify one non-tariff trade barrier. So we had some of this in the previous paper, and you guys call out quite a bit for me.
Subsidies.
A trade barrier. Alright, let's start with quotas. We could do embargoes. A trade barrier is subsidies. I'm not sure about that one. What about yeah, complete ban. Yeah, because that's the question asking. That's all right. All right. Alright, non-tariff trade barrier. Okay. Define each of the following terms. Balance of trade. Oh, second. Right. Currency appreciation. Alright, so yeah, let me just fix these a little bit. I need to remove from there. Alright, so balance of trade is the balance on the visible account in the balance of payments. And currency appreciation, so basically it's almost like they took the opposite from whatever they asked in the previous year. Because when the previous year they asked about devaluation and stuff, right? Is the what is appreciation? Rise or fall?
Rise.
Right, so currency appreciation is the increase in the value or price of one country's currency relative to another. Sorry, 1 second. Eliam. Yes, I am home. Okay, thank you. All right, bye. Right. Other countries on. But what's important here is the reason why the currency rose in value. Was it because of government intervention or demand and supply? Because
currency appreciation.
Yeah. What's that? Let me hear.
This is not like the opposite of depreciation.
Right, depreciation is where the currency falls in value because of demand and supply.
Devaluation is with the
Fixed exchange rate.
alright.
Right, so devaluation and revaluation is with fixed. Appreciation and depreciation is with floating.
Okay.
Right, so the currency appreciation is the increase in the value or price of one country's currency relative to another country's because of demand and supply. All right, cool. Part D, let's see what part D is asking us, shall we? Let's scroll up a little bit. Part D, oops. Discuss two policies that can be implemented to reduce a balance of payments deficit. Didn't we answer some of this in the previous page? Like disequilibrium, BOP disequilibrium?
How devaluation.
Remember, well, this disequilibrium could be either exports more than imports or imports more than exports. That's disequilibrium. Not that exports minus imports, more than imports would be a bad thing, but a sustained situation, a sustained surplus might be, as it could cause inflation. But okay, here they're asking specifically about deficit, right?
Yeah.
All right, so two policies. So a balance of payments deficit is where the value of imports exceeds the value of exports. All right, so two policies that can reduce a deficit, a BOP deficit, are one. Okay, let me hear you.
Fiscal policy, we want.
All right, what specific part, or how would you specifically use fiscal policy? Because you can.
Taxation on imports.
All right, so you could tax imports, like you could put tariffs, right? Tariffs would make them more expensive, and if they're more expensive, rational consumers should demand less.
Yeah.
And if they demand less, then you stem your outflow.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So using fiscal policy to levy tariffs on imports, on some imports. Right, this will raise the price of those goods, which may lead to a decrease in demand and eventually a decrease in demand and the outflow of foreign exchange. Sorry, one sec. Okay, no problem. I will let you be possible. So, if you want to study here, can. But if he prefers to study on his own, that's fine too. Sorry, I'm just trying to fix something here. Am I late? Yeah, boy, Virish. Yeah, like 10 minutes again. Don't worry, it'll upload shortly. Alright, so this will raise the price of those goods, which may lead to a decrease in demand and the outflow of foreign exchange. And IT was box lunch. Alright, we're glad to hear that one. And two, okay, so what's another thing you could do to deal with a balance of payments deficit? So you said fiscal policy to levy tariffs, right? So a tariff is a type of tax, and taxes fall under fiscal policy.
Can't you say fiscal policy again, but say use government spending, like they invest. They invest in, say, like farming to increase crops. So that.
And what we're trying to do, we're trying to reduce outflows or increase inflows.
Yes.
So we just talked about reducing outflows. So
invest in like businesses and increase inflows.
So basically what you're saying is invest in local companies to make them more internationally competitive.
Yeah.
Alright, and that way they could probably have higher demand for our exports.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Right. Use of government expenditure to invest in local businesses to improve their international competitiveness and hopefully increase the volume of exports and the inflows of foreign exchange. Sorry, 1 second. Government spending. Yes, I agree with you, Maya. So we're spending on local businesses to increase their competitiveness, right? Or maybe that's to decrease their cost of production and lower the cost of the goods. All right. We have a part E. Let's take a look at part E very quickly and we'll pull it up back and forth. So table 2 shows the trade transactions for carry land. So BOP transfer for carry. Okay, cool. Importation. The dog who like the bark at here. Well, I could have something outside. There's a van outside, so I understand why she barking now. Cough drop. What's going on? It was food. Nice. Importation of goods and services. Exports of goods and so these two things will be on the current account. All right. Foreign investment in carry land as capital account. Carry land investment abroad as also in the capital account. So the current account balance is the difference between the exports and imports. If you have more exports and imports, you have a surplus on the current account. Do we have that?
Yeah.
Yes, we do. All right, so this is part 1. So E, part 1. All right, so current account balance equals to exports of goods and services minus imports. That's correct. Services. Alright, so what we'll have there is, so it was 70 million minus 60 million, which was equal to 10 million. $10 million. Right. Calculate the capital account balance. Okay, let's go back and just take a look. So so we invested 43 million abroad and they've invested 35 here. So which one was greater, inflows or outflows? Outflows. So what's going to happen there? Surplus or deficit?
Deficit.
Correct. So maybe we could just specify here as 10 million. Whoops. Surplus.
Also say at a state.
You actually shouldn't, because if it's positive, it's a surplus. If it's negative, it's a deficit, right? 10 million surplus. So capital account balance, and that's equal to. So what was it? It was 35 minus 43, which is equal to a negative 8 million, right? Which is a deficit. Now we have to state whether there's a balance of payments, deficit, or surplus. So if we have a surplus, a 10 million surplus on the current account, and an 8 million deficit on the capital, there's a surplus, right? So there is a $2 million surplus on the balance side, the balance of payments.
We see how we found the surplus, yeah?
Well, on the current account, you had a 10 million surplus.
Right.
On the capital account, you had an 8 million deficit. So 10 minus 8 will give us 2. Boom. Cool. Let's go back here. All right. that's all. Okay, so number 6. So we have like 2 minutes again. Let's see if we could just knock this out in that time. Maybe we could just talk through the answers. So define each of the following terms. Economic integration. Why does not remember economic integration? I know integration has to do, well, that's business integration, like forwards, backwards.
It's like you come together.
Uh-huh.
Of countries.
Of different countries.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So economic integration has. Uh-huh. Okay, so the coming together of different countries to forge agreements. Oh, well, that's a push for regional economic integration. Okay, I understand what you're saying. All right. Yeah, so I got kind of the word integration there. And again, okay, AdMats, no POV, no, what we were on. All right, I think I seen they came for the girls on the inside. All right, multilateral agreement is an agreement made by many parties. Right, for example, CARICOM is a multilateral agreement. This is an agreement made by almost all of the Caribbean countries, so most of the Caribbean countries.
Only EU.
European Union is also multilateral, that's correct. Yeah. List 3 examples of economic integration. Anybody? 3 examples of economic integration. Well, economic integration is where countries kind of come together to facilitate trade and exchange of ideas, free flow of resources, and that kind of stuff. So I think CARICOM is one, right? You mentioned the EU.
Yeah.
OAS is the Organization of American States. I'm going to say nip deck, flip deco. None of those. Sorry, the fatigue reel. The fatigue reel. Oh, NASA? No. Let's go on random acronyms now. What else, boy? OPEC was one, the Organization of
The CSME.
CSME, the Caribbean Single Market and Economy. Yeah, he said EU quite a while ago, but yeah. Alright, okay, so I think you could pull out 3 from the rubbish I was saying there. If anybody has any more, please feel free to let me know. My brain a little tired. Outline 4 benefits of globalization to firms. 8 marks, so that's 2 marks per benefit. Okay, I'm just gonna jot on the benefit and then we can just talk about it. So this is 6 part C. Alright, so 4 benefits of globalization. No, I wanted a colon. Alright. Okay, so of globalization, so one thing I could definitely say is you have a wider market. So you no longer only have to sell to your home country. You can have the entire world as your market, I mean, via the internet, right? So you have a larger market to which to sell, and this gives a potentially larger revenue stream. Anybody else? Anything else? What else? With globalization comes the exchange of resources and ideas. So you can have transfer of technology to make your production processes more efficient.
And easier trade can be one.
Okay, right. So so transfer of technology and ideas. Technology, ideas, and resources can aid in improving offerings and efficiency. A third one, sorry, you said it just now? Say it again?
Easier trade.
Right, so globalization could help to forge trade agreements, right? Right, could help to form trade agreements which could remove barriers to trade, trade / entry to certain markets. And a fourth benefit of globalization. Being recognizable around the world, but then that's just basically open market.
if you could do this econ paper, you could do any econ paper.
I know about all that, but alright.
I find this one over there.
This one was a little different than the previous one, I agree with that. Topics weren't as readily available in my brain. What is our last question? Nah, I think we gotta stop there. It says small size is a barrier to trade at an international level. Discuss how regional integration can overcome this problem. Small size. Small size, like if you're like a little corner store, I mean that's a barrier to international trade. But if you are that small and you may intentionally be that small, you might not want to trade internationally. But a lot of companies now, even though they're small, they can have a global reach, right? So regional integration basically is a process whereby, for example, in the Caribbean, different countries formed an agreement to facilitate and allow trade between the islands at a reduced tax rate, if any tax rate at all, right? Easier flow of goods. So when you're smaller, it might cost more of your budget to try to do some of these things. But if they reduce the taxation and the barriers and the paperwork, it makes it easier for you to do that. All right. Okay. All right, guys. We gotta stop there because
See, we just do one more benefit of globalization.
Oh, our next benefit of globalization. All right.
Is e-commerce have anything to do with that?
Sorry. E-commerce. Yeah. E-commerce is what will fuel your larger market to sell to, will fuel the international sales, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, you could do that without the internet. It's just a lot less efficient. All right. Okay.
Zach, you got one?
Of course, one for everybody. Have two extra. I thought Amy and Bianca would come in, but anyhow.
Do you pass me one?
Pass me
If
on.
you don't do this one, so-
Yeah,
or
probably.
at least some of it.
Come.
All
Or
right.
does it have space?
No, yeah, it doesn't have space on it to write, unfortunately.
Mr. Sue, I apparently 2015.
Well, I thought we might have finished early, or give you one to go home with. I don't. All right.
Oh, I did this one.
Yeah. Yeah, Jordan. My brain Jordan up long there. I really got to get the next one. You could Google or no?
So one more outside.
All right, well,
That's
yeah, man. All the best. Yeah, let me know how it go.
Go get on time.
Global, yeah.
well,
Go get on time, bro.
Globally. Benefits of globally. Foreign direct investment. That was the easy one.
That's the benefits of it.
Yeah, it tends to increase at a much greater rate than the growth in world trade. FDI. This is like a nice article. Pros and cons from Forbes. Hey, how you doing, Ashley? Hey guys, when in doubt, Google.
I'll open this one easy tomorrow.
Yeah, sure we'll find out soon enough. Alright folks, so good luck. Good luck to you too. Not sure when I'll see you all again, but let me know how it goes. Alright. I am out.